What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Drew Hoover, and today we'll be talking about fantasy football. We'll be talking about players that you should target when you're assembling your fantasy team leading up to the regular season. If you haven't subscribed to your Average Joe Sports Network yet, please click that subscribe button. And also, if you have any graphic design needs, Anthony Garcia is your man. His link is in the description below, www.anthonygarciadesign.com. And so let's get right into this. I'll be talking about quarterbacks while also hinting at the wide receivers that you should be drafting as well, and then talking about the running backs. Now let's start with the quarterbacks here, and let's start off with Matthew Stafford, the quarterback for the LA Rams. Now, I have expressed my disagreement for the trade of Jared Goff in exchange for Matthew Stafford, but when you look at the stats, let's compare the stats for last year. In 2020, Jared Goff passed the ball 552 times. As a result, came 3,952 yards and 20 TDs, and this is when he had weapons like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Now you had Matthew Stafford, who didn't have the weapons, plus the weapons he did have were injured. He passed the ball 528 times, but passed for 4,084 yards and 26 TDs. So even though he had limited cast and a limited opportunity, he maximized the opportunity that was given to him. So when you're talking about being added now to that Rams offense, and I mentioned the receivers Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, a lot of fantasy owners were hesitant to put them in their starting lineup. But now with Matthew Stafford in the mix, I feel like both of those players could see more and more time in the starting lineup. Next is Joe Burrow, the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. We all know about his injury last year that cut his season short. But leading up to his injury in Week 11, he passed the ball 404 times, which means he was averaging around 40 passes attempts a game. And now you're talking about extending the season by a game. This makes a lot of opportunities. And again, if you're drafting wide receivers right here, you had Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and now Jamar Chase, the 5th round selection out of LSU, Joe Burrow's former teammate. Now, usually we're like, oh, with all these weapons right here, it's hard to choose. You know, kind of like the Steelers last year, we had to pick and choose from Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Chase Claypool. But I feel like there's enough balls to go around, especially like I said with the attempts that he's going to have per game. So I feel like you can't go wrong with either of those wide receivers. I would lean more towards Jamar Chase because of his history with Joe Burrow, particularly the season that he had in 2019. Also, Joe Mixon could also be involved in that passing game as well as a receiving back. So keep an eye on him as well. Next is Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. You talk about Chan Gailey's spread offense, an offense that likes to put 4 wide receivers on the field. And Tua Tagovailoa, hopefully he'll play the all 16 games, so we'll obviously have better stats than he did last year. But we also talk about the additions of Will Fuller from free agency and Jalen Waddle from Alabama. And I'll even mention Mike Gesicki, which I know the tight end is the hardest position to pick in fantasy football because after Kelsey, Gronk, and Kittle, the talent just drops right there. But I think that's a guy you could also target as well. As for the wide receivers, I would lean more towards Waddle and Parker. I'm not sure about Will Fuller, about his health, and also his history with being suspended. So I would lean towards Waddle and Parker right there. And then Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we have a lot of high hopes for him. We just don't know how far it's going to take him, particularly in fantasy football. But his offensive coordinator is Shane Steichen, the former offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers last year. That's right. That means he was coaching Justin Herbert, who ended up having an Offensive Rookie of the Year performance, and he passed the ball 595 times, which means plenty of opportunities to throw to guys like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I'm not sure if Jalen Hurts will be close to the number when you have a running back like Miles Sanders in the backfield. But they drafted Devontae Smith. I have mispronounced his name so many times. I've said Devontae Williams, but this time I said Devontae Smith. I apologize. Think about Jalen Reagor. I'll even throw Travis Furlong's name in the mix since he did step it up when Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson went down with injuries. Zach Ertz, they keep saying they're going to be looking to trade him, but until they actually do so, let's just assume he's going to be in the starting lineup in week 1. And I mentioned running backs that could receive. Miles Sanders would be one of them. And keep an eye on Kenneth Gainwell, especially if Miles Sanders gets injured once again this season. And then finally, Sam Darnold for the Carolina Panthers. This is more of a leap of faith to me. But when I look at Matt Rule's offense and I look at Sam Darnold, I can't help but have the parallel of Sam Darnold and Charlie Brewer, Matt Rule's former quarterback from Baylor University. And Charlie Brewer was one of the best quarterbacks that Baylor ever had and took him to a Big 12 championship. I think Sam Darnold has similar talents, and I feel like with the weapons that Matt Rule has in that offense, he can succeed. You talk about Robbie Anderson, his former wide receiver from the New York Jets. DJ Moore, the second-round selection, Terrace Marshall Jr., and not to mention the biggest weapon possibly in that entire offense, Christian McCaffrey, who loves to be a weapon out of the backfield as much as he does running up the gaps. And so let's get into the running backs right here. Again, I'm going to try to make this quick right here. Najee Harris, running back for the Steelers. And a lot of people probably wouldn't see him having big stats because Ben Roethlisberger did pass 600 passes last year. But, that was mostly because they couldn't run the ball. They had the dead last rushing offense last year. So obviously this is an upgrade with Najee Harris. I think Mike Tomlin really loves Najee Harris and what he brings to the table. So I feel like he's going to find plenty of opportunities for him to give him the ball. Even to the fact that Najee Harris has said that they're even going to put him at a wide receiver, put him out in the open on the line of scrimmage. So we'll be interested to see how Najee Harris is utilized in that offense right there. Also, Mike Davis, the running back for the Atlanta Falcons right here. Again, another team that their quarterback passed for over 600 attempts. But we look at Arthur Smith, the head coach, who ran heavy in Tennessee with Derrick Henry right there. And you look at Mike Davis. The interesting story is the fact that I didn't really see him as an important role until the draft, and they didn't even attempt to draft a running back in that draft. And so I look at Mike Davis, who, by the way, took over for Christian McCaffrey when he was injured last year, played extremely well. And I look at the pictures of him with those big Earl Campbell thighs right there, and I feel like he could end up being a shocker in 2021. Also, the next few are going to be running back tandems, more like Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, the running backs for the Denver Broncos. We were so hyped on Drew Lock getting an MVP last year because of all the weapons that he had. Obviously, injuries derailed that. And now we're talking about, Drew Lock, maybe taking a second fiddle to either Teddy Bridgewater or possibly Aaron Rodgers if traded. But you got to look at the running game right here. Melvin Gordon, he's looking out to prove people wrong. He's looking to prove that he's still a great running back. He says he's tired of being overlooked and he's sick of it. I think he's looking to prove that he is still a dominant running back in 2021. And they also got Javonte Williams, the running back from North Carolina. Excellent playmaker, a guy that I compared to LaShawn McCoy. George Patton did say that he was going to be a compliment to Melvin Gordon, but I still feel like he's going to get plenty of opportunities right there. And like I said, an offense that doesn't know what their future is at the quarterback position, I feel like they're going to depend on those running backs to carry that offense. Also, another running back tandem, Trey Sermon and Wayne Gallin Jr., the running backs for the San Francisco 49ers. You talk about ever since Kyle Shanahan's been there, he's been liking to stack that running back room right there. And you talk about when they took the trip to the Super Bowl, there was that divisional round with the Vikings. That was Tevin Coleman's day. And then the next week, it was Raheem Morrison. Or was it vice versa? I don't quite remember. But anyway, the fact that multiple running backs could succeed in that offense right there. Tevin Coleman's gone. Jerick McKinnon's gone. Raheem Morrison's still there, but when you talk about, like I said, these new running backs who came in, I'm just not sure what his role is. And when you look at Trey Sermon, the production he had at Ohio State, I think he's an explosive weapon that could end up being more than what's on the page right there. Also, Wayne Gallin Jr., another running back who took over for a star running back. He took over for Saquon Barkley last year with the New York Giants, played adequately. So I feel like these two guys could end up getting a lot of opportunities, especially when you have a rookie quarterback in Trey Lance, or possibly Jimmy Garoppolo if he starts right there. And then finally, Travis Etienne, the running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, a lot of focus will be on Trevor Lawrence because, like I said, he's the #1 overall pick. But I feel like it's going to be similar to, in Clemson, where I feel like it's going to be 50-50, where, I feel like that Travis Etienne is going to get as much opportunities as Trevor Lawrence is to advance the ball down the field. And when I look at Urban Meyer, yes, he runs a spread offense, but you look at the success that Ezekiel Elliott had, particularly in his last year when they went all the way to the national championship in 2016. I feel like Travis Etienne could have a bigger role in the Jacksonville offense than I think people realize. He may not have been the #1 pick like Trevor Lawrence, but I feel like he has a lot to play. And when you talk about, like I said, having to part ways with Leonard Fournette, the running back they drafted at LSU with the #4 pick a few years ago, I feel like Travis Etienne could definitely take this offense to the next level. And that has been our fantasy football outlook to see who players that you would like to gravitate towards. I know there's other positions like tight ends. We obviously know you got to get Kittle, Travis Kelce, or Rob Gronk. And then, with kickers and defenses, I'm not going to go in deep detail with those because really it's all about the players that are going to give you the most points during the regular season right there. Again, subscribe to my channel and please stay tuned for more videos. We're going to be talking about the top quarterback transfers in college football. We'll finally be talking about some college football here and talk about which quarterbacks that have found a new home could possibly maximize their opportunity. So have a good day, everybody.